Okay, hello, can y'all hear me? All right, welcome. Thank y'all for being here. My name is Matt Grannon. I'm President and CEO here for Alliance Credit Union, and appreciate you guys being members, and appreciate you guys being a part of all the growth we've had over the last few years. Today we're going to talk about deregulation. Obviously, this is a hot topic right now in Lubbock, and we've got some friends of ours with Reliant Energy here that are going to help walk us through deregulation, what it means for Lubbock as a community, and what it means for you guys specifically as Alliance Credit Union members. And so before we get into that, I kind of want to back up and give a little bit of history of kind of what brought us to this point as a credit union, and why we've invited Reliant specifically to come speak with you today. When we heard deregulation was actually going to happen, and we got some pretty good dates on that, your management team here at the credit union started looking at our marketplace, and we very quickly realized that we have nearly 48,000 members here in a town of, what, 300,000 if we count some of the surrounding areas. That's a significant portion of the marketplace. And as the old saying goes, you know, size matters, numbers matter. There's strength in numbers, and you know, we believe that we could offer our members a discount, or we thought we might be able to offer our members a benefit by leveraging that. And so we piled through our data, and we realized that we had about 25,000 residential electric meters represented in our 48,000 members, and okay, so 25,000 electric meters, and there's about 93,000 residential electric meters in the Lubbock area. That's a big chunk of the market. So we took this information and we started looking for partners who might be able to offer us a discount and give our members a benefit. And so, but we wanted to be careful, you know, just like you guys know out here in West Texas, we get a hailstorm. You don't necessarily want your roof or your car repaired by the fly-by-night pop-up tents. You want to go with somebody you can trust and that's reliable. So we're looking for a partner that is established, that has a history of customer service, and has a history of reliability, and also somebody that would be able to come to the table with a real offer. And Reliant did that. Reliant, after almost a year of negotiations, Reliant came to the table with a very strong offer that they're going to offer our members a 10% discount off your electricity rate if you sign up through them. Of course, they're the largest provider in Texas, and they certainly have a history of reliability and customer service. And so that's who we have partnered with as a credit union. And so it's another way for you to realize the benefits of being a member here. And not saying, you know, for sure that's who you should go with. You should definitely shop. You should definitely see what all your options look like. But the Reliant partnership does offer you something that none of the other companies will provide. And I think when you look into the offering, you'll probably see that that's going to be one of the cheaper electricity providers you're going to be able to find. But we've got Anna Delano and we've got Jamil here, and they are with Reliant, and they're going to kind of walk us through deregulation, take us through from a high level first, and then drill into what the actual arrangement is with us and how you achieve that 10% discount. I will say from Alliance's perspective, there are no strings attached. You don't have to have this set up through direct deposit. You don't have to have it set up through ACH. None of that applies. If you're a member of the credit union, you're eligible for the 10% discount. Okay? Anna, go ahead.
Okay, I just thought of something fun we can do. Does anybody know? Oh, go ahead.
One other thing, just want to say, I know everybody has a lot of questions. There are a lot of folks online as well. If we could, let's try to hold all the questions to the end. We'll have a lot of time for Q&A, but that way we can get through some of the material and it might answer some of those questions as we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun. Does anybody know the name of, don't say it out loud if you do know. Does anybody know the name of our mascot? If you know it, I will mail you a plushie of him. Anybody? Somebody's going to Google it. Hey, this is just like when you play trivia. Okay, so his name is Hugo. He is an armadillo, or as we say in Texas, armadillo. And so my name is Anna Delano, and I'm a local Lubbock resident like the rest of you. No, I didn't just move here because Reliant put me here. I came to Tech a long time ago, over 20 years ago, and I stayed, and I even worked for the university for a number of years, and I did that until I met the folks at Reliant, and they wanted a local person to represent them in the community. And they met me and they said, do you know what deregulation is? And I said, well, huh? And they're like, yeah, exactly. That's what we get everywhere we go. We need someone who can go out and educate the community about what deregulation is. They're about to have choice, electricity choice, and a lot of people in Lubbock don't know what that is. Lubbock's been doing this for 20 years. This is not the first time they've gone into a market that has moved from one provider to having choice, and they knew they needed to educate the community. So I went to Rotary clubs, and I went to all the other clubs and organizations, and I did some TV interviews and all of that. And this is just another way that we like to partner with the community. How many of you have seen our armadillo on the TV commercials? Any of you go to the Tech games? Okay, you'll see, yeah, we have our little football game where you can do the football toss, and then for basketball, we've got some games. We want to be out in the community. Part of my job, and my main job, is to partner with charities and local organizations. So what I want you to know, and the reason I say that, is because we are not just an electricity company. We are part of the community. We care about the communities where we live and work. It's part of our DNA. It's not a gimmick. We came in 2017, joined the chamber, because we knew it was important to get to know the people that we're going to work alongside. Then about 2-3 years ago, we slowly started investing in different organizations and charities. We've partnered with the South Plains Food Bank. We're Cornerstone partners. We've partnered with the Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity, and many, many, many more. I say that to say is when you are contributing to Reliant, you are contributing to a company that appreciates it, and we're going to show that by giving back to the community. I represent our foundation, NRG Foundation, and I spend most of my time just trying to figure out how I can do good in the community. So, that being said, one of the things that I was tasked to do early on was explain at a high level what we mean by deregulation, or you've heard electricity choice, or you've heard any of those terms. Is anybody interested in kind of getting a high-level overview of what this means and why we're doing what we're doing? Okay. Well, good, because that's what we're going to do. All right. So the first thing, let's define it for you. Currently, or for at least the last several years, we have not had but one provider, one electricity provider, LP&L, and that is called a regulated market. It just means we have one choice. It means the same thing. When you hear somebody say regulated, they just had one provider. Pretty simple. Another way that we define that for you or break it down for you is with this awesome infographic. Obviously, power is generated, and then through poles and wires, it's brought to your home. What I want to bring your attention to are the two icons in the middle. You have your local utility, and you have your electricity provider. Whose name do you see down there twice? Lubbock Power and Light. The reason we break it down for you this way is to show you that right now, the City of Lubbock does two main things, or LP&L does two main things. LP&L makes sure that the poles and wires, the infrastructure, brings electricity to your homes. That when you turn the lights on and you plug in your appliances, that electricity is there. That is the hard wiring, that's the infrastructure. The other thing they do right now and have done for many years is they go to market, they buy electricity, and then they pass it through to you. Whatever they buy it for, they're selling it to you for, okay? What will change is that formula, but before we get into that, I just wanted you to realize right now LP&L does both things. They make sure you have electricity, and then they bill you for it. Again, if you like it written out, the utility company both delivers and handles billing. The City Council voted a while back to bring in competition and bring in other options. That was something that the City Council had been hearing for a very long time. What happens when we transition? If you look at those two icons in the middle, what's changing is who bills you. What's not changing is how you get the electricity to your homes. The poles and wires that are here in Lubbock will still be taken care of by LP&L. They're just not going to go to market anymore and buy electricity and then come back and figure out what to charge you for it. They don't have to do that anymore. They're just going to take care of the maintenance and all of that. So, of course, we work for Reliant, so we popped Reliant's icon right down here, but that can be anybody you want. It doesn't have to be Reliant. I mean, obviously, I think it should be, but you can pick, that's the moral of the story, you can pick whoever that is. So that is what's changed in this scenario. That seem pretty simple? Yeah. I did not design that infographic. I wish I had, because that helped me understand it so much better. Again, for those of you who like to see it written out, basically you have your choice of retail providers. The other thing you get to choose, and this is the part that always blows everyone's minds, is now you get to pick plans. How many of you are just getting used to the fact that you're going to have somebody besides LP&L? Now I'm telling you, oh, by the way, you get to pick plans. What I mean by plans is, how many of you remember cell phone plans when we got to pick like rollover minutes and free nights and calling after 9 and those things? Well, you'll see plans like that. The point is, plans help you pick the plan that matches your lifestyle. You'll see different ones out there, and we can talk about whether they're right for you based on when you're home and how much electricity you use per month. But that's the idea behind plans. That way you can use something. Not everybody uses it the same way, but you can use one that works best for you. Some things that you can kind of look at a comparison of what you'll get by going into a deregulated market is you'll have some competitive pricing. You'll get to choose between plans. You'll also have things like tools, innovative tools. How many of you like to do things from your phone, like maybe an app or whatever? We have those things. Some companies don't. We definitely have all those things. Things to look forward to. How about customer service? Who wants to be able to talk to a person on the other end when you call? I don't know why that gets me giddy, but it does. The fact that I can call someone at Reliant and know they're going to answer. If that is important to you, that is, just know that's one of our calling cards, what we're famous for. We're known for excellent 24/7 customer service. And I use this example, but I don't know who would do this, but if you want to call us at 2 a.m., I don't know, maybe you just can't sleep and electricity's on your mind, but it's 2 a.m. and you want to call Reliant, guess what? We're there. Or maybe you're online playing on your phone and you've got your app open. Hey, I've been wanting to ask about this. I'm going to chat with them right now. It's 10 o'clock at night, you're watching the news and you want to know something. Get on the chat. We're there. Whatever works for you, whether it's phone, chat, through the app, we want to be accessible to you. But at the end of the day, LP&L will still manage the poles and the wires. They'll make sure that, so for instance, we got asked this. Yeah. Okay, we're good? All right. Here's a quick timeline. What I want you to be aware of is we're in pre-sale right now. From January, right now, till February 15th, you can pick your provider. If you do not pick by February 15th, one will be assigned to you. We have Octopus, TXU, and of course, Reliant as your options. The city or LP&L will assign at random one of those 3 providers to you. It's just random. If your neighbor on one side doesn't choose and your neighbor on the other doesn't choose either, they could have 2 different providers. One could have Reliant and one could have Octopus. It's just, however, it's like a lottery. So if you don't choose by February 15th, one will be chosen for you. If they're chosen for you, it's not going to be the best rate plans like you see in the market. We've negotiated all that. It'll be at what do they call it, fair market rates, but you can get much, much better if you pick your plans. Now, if you do get a assigned provider, you can still pick till about March 4th, March 5th. I would say if you have not chosen by the end of March, kind of scary because we start flow March 5th. Is it 5th or 6th? 5th. It's March 5th. So March 5th is what flow means, is that's when LP&L quits charging you and your new provider starts charging you. So March 5th. So if you have not chosen by then, you definitely want to do that. Make sure you pick a plan and a provider that works for you. Okay, people ask me all the time, well, I live in so-and-so, and I live in so-and-so. Do I have to choose? If LP&L bills you for electricity right now, you have to choose. But here are the coverage areas. Anything in light blue is LP&L. Anything in green is SPS/Excel. Sorry, wrong. That's SPEC, South Plains Electric Co-op. Yes, sorry. SPS is up top in the dusty pink, and then the hot pink. This is the only area that if they have SPEC, they can choose between SPEC and deregulation. It's a very interesting area, but they have both meters. They have meters from South Plains Electric, and they have meters from LP&L. The gray area down here at the bottom is also LP&L. They just hadn't built the meters out yet at the time. So that's the coverage area. So if you have any questions about that, we can answer that later, but we just wanted you to have a high-level overview. Does that seem pretty clear in terms of how it works and what we're doing and why we're doing it? Okay. Well, I'm going to hand it over to Jamil and let him kind of get down into some of the other details.
Yeah. Thanks, Anna. Okay, so my job is to continue to educate you guys on what you're going to be seeing with your billing. This QR code, this code right here is scannable with your phone. So if you would like to scan this, it'll pull up a link to a website. And once you see that, you will see a page like this, right? To go along with the communities, go along with the customer service, and to properly assist the members of Alliance Credit Union, we've utilized our concierge program, right? Inside of Reliant Energy, we have utility concierges that are more accustomed to building a relationship, answering questions, and kind of walking you through regulation, right? More so than somebody at a call center at a different organization who probably does not know about Lubbock, right? So we've brought in our concierge. The gentleman's picture that you see there, his name is Mr. Brandon Elson. You might have seen him right out here. He's one of our main concierges. He's our specialist in new deregulation markets. He's been through it in Abilene. He's been through it in the northern Austin areas that are deregulating outside of Austin Energy. So this isn't his first time having to kind of answer some questions and explain and walk you through it. We didn't want to send you directly to a call center that who is not really that familiar with what you guys are going through at this transition point. So that's why we brought him in. We have a whole nother team of concierges on standby that can help you out as well. If you guys want to go ahead and handle the enrollment today. However, you do not have to handle the enrollment today. You have up until February 15th, like Anna was saying. We are not trying to sell you or push it on you. We want to make sure that we answer all your questions. And then if we answer your questions and you want to go ahead and get it taken care of today, then you have this ability. Now, let's say that you don't want to get it taken care of today, or you have somewhere to be right after this. You can't take a call or anything like that. On this same link, if you want to take care of it today, there's a zip code right here that says view plans. You can go ahead and do that on your own. And if you don't want to take care of it today, you can just scroll down on that page, and this is a consent to contact form. In these notes, you can put a preferred time that you would like to be reached out to during business days, and we will reach out to you at a later date in between now and February 15th and help you out with that. Okay, and I'll come back to this QR code too, and there's also another one at the end that we'll put up during the Q&A session. Okay, so a lot of people want to know about the billing, right? Reliant, we are like Matt was saying, we are the largest retail electric provider, right? We provide more power to more Texans than any other electricity company in the state. Because of that, our reputation is very, very important, right? We cannot afford to do anything gimmicky or do anything that hides any information from you. So the reason why I'm going over this billing is so that you can see the transparency. Anything that you have a question about what you're being charged, how many kilowatt hours you used, all that stuff is very, very transparent on your bill. We know that you've never seen a Reliant bill before, so we figured we'd show you what it looked like and help you break it down before you get one. Does that seem like it'll be helpful? Okay, good. So starting with column 1, it's just your bill overview, right? It has your account number up there. It has the billing date, which is typically about 30 days. And then it has the amount due, okay? Very simple information. Information number 2, column number 2 over there with your account information, that is your personal information. It should be your name, address, and your account number. You want to make sure that you're not sending in a payment for somebody else's bill, right? So let's make sure that that's that. In 3, that's just all the contact information. So like Anna was talking about, the 24/7 customer service. There are multiple numbers on there that you could call for your customer service. There's a hearing impaired line that we have if you have that need. And then you'll also chat online. That's just so that we are transparent about how you can get in contact with us. Now, right under that in column 3, it'll say for outages or emergencies call. This is going to be the direct line number, from your guys' bill, it'll be the direct line number to LP&L, right? So like Anna was talking about, we'll kind of be handling the customer service side of it. We'll help you guys out with your contracts. But let's say that a tree falls into your power line, right? Reliant Energy isn't going to send people out to climb that pole and repair that line. That all happens with Lubbock Power and Light now, right? They handle all of the hardware items, the meters, the poles, the wires, all those things are handled by them. So for outages and emergencies, that's where their number will be. You can connect with them directly and then tell them what the problem is. They'll send people out there, right? Now, for whatever reason, if you forget that and you like panic, like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, I have an emergency, and you call Reliant, please go ahead. We have 24/7 customer service. We'll directly connect you with Lubbock Power and Light so that they can help you. We're not going to hang up on you and say, yo, call Lubbock Power and Light, okay? The next one is 4. This is the electricity usage summary. On this, you can see kind of your past usages. I've seen some Lubbock Power and Light bills, and it kind of has the bar graphs of your past usages and stuff. This should be a little bit of a step up from that. There's just kind of like a yearly average on there, but you should be able to see it from month to month. So you can see your last year's usage in comparison to this year's usage. So in this example, it's like July. So July 31st of last year, this is what you used. This year you use this, right? And you can compare. Tells you exactly how many kilowatt hours you used, and even some additional weather information that could kind of contribute to why that usage is that way. In this example, right, the average temperature was 99 degrees, right? You can see the usage was higher, right? 97 degrees, usage was lower, right? So that's just to be more transparent and give you guys more information. If we have any monthly updates that come out that you should be aware of, they will be in section 5 right there, but that's also where you can visit us online or call if you have any customer service concerns or like you want to praise the person that helped you out or whatever. All that is for you to reach out to us right there in 5. Okay. Now, I don't know why it goes to 7 and 8, but 7 is your payment slip. So if you just want to send in a check, you don't want to pay online, you don't want to call anybody, there's a perforated part of your bill that you'll have. You can pull that payment slip off and make the payment directly from that payment slip and mail it in. And then there's just more detailed account information in section 8, like the ESID, which is your meter's identification code and all that detailed information, previous meter read information. You don't technically need that, but we just want to make sure that we're transparent as possible. You know everything that's going on. The last column is column 6, and this is your account information. This is your account summary. This is where you're going to see all the transparency, the line items, everything that you're going to get charged for. The first portion of this, let's say that you made a whoopsie, right? Let's say that the previous month you didn't make your payment, right? So you might have a balance forwarded to this month's bill. But as long as you're making your payments on time and you made your payment, like in this example, you want your balance forwarded to be 0. So in this example, it was $239 the previous month. It shows when you made your previous payment. In this example, it's $914, so they made that payment. Now they have a 0 forwarding balance. Nothing is coming down into this month's bills. Now, when you get to this month's bills, it'll show you that this was on a 31-day billing cycle. Went from 8/1 to 9/1. And then, so that's the period that you've used this time in. If there is a base charge associated, which we'll talk about in the Q&A, it would show it here. But in this example, there's not a base charge. For all of the Alliance credit union members, there's not a base charge on the plans that you guys have access to right now with the 10% discount. So you don't have to worry about that. It'll also show you the energy charge, which is the retail charge, right? So now on your billing, Whatever your combined rate is that you're paying, that portions of that will go to Lubbock Power and Light for maintaining the lines. Right now, Lubbock Power and Light is charging 6.42 cents per kilowatt hour that you use, just so that they can be in good maintenance of the power lines and the transmission of electricity. Okay, and then everything else that goes into your rate will come from the retail charge from the company you select, or Reliant in this case. So your energy charge for your company, your retail company, or your Reliant charge will be here. And then in this point, it does say center point because this is an example from a bill from Houston. But for you all, this is where Lubbock Power and Light will be, right? And you'll see exactly how much you pay to Lubbock Power and Light, exactly how much you pay to your electricity company. Then you just add the taxes in. Now, this example doesn't have it, but this is also where you'll see your 10% discount for being an Alliance Credit Union member, okay? On that, now let's say that, so you'll see the 10% discount. However, I want to make you guys aware, a question that came up last time is that when will you see that, right? You may not see it on your first billing cycle, and why, right? We say that that discount takes effect within 1 to 2 billing cycles of the power, right? And here's why. The flow of electricity to your home won't come until after March 5th, right? That's when the pre-sale period is officially closed. So, and you will start receiving bills from your new company or Reliant after that date. Now, pretty much everybody has a different meter read date, right? Your meter read date could be on the 6th, it could be on the 20th, it could be on the 30th, whatever day that Lubbock Power and Light reads your meter, normally that's the thing that you still stay on. So if your meter read date was March 6th, then your billing cycle would technically only be 1 day, right? Your discount wouldn't apply until you go through and then it comes out in your next billing cycle. If you have a later billing cycle, let's say your meter read is until the 28th, then there's a good chance that the 10% would show up on the first one. It all just depends on your meter read date, 1 to 2 billing cycles. So if you don't see it on your first one, don't freak out. But if you don't see it on your second one, call us so we can fix it right away, okay? Yes.
The LP&L portion of that bill, that's going to be the same regardless of
Yes.
which provider they choose, right?
Excellent point, yes. So the LP&L charges of 6.42 cents will be the same no matter what electricity company you provide. That's one of the things that competition does, right? We have to keep the grids, accountable in a way, because for us to be competitive, for you all, they have to practice sustainable business practices and keep their costs down as well, right? So no matter who you go with, that rate doesn't change. You don't get charged any more or less for being with Reliant versus somebody else. And also that rate is given to you guys with, just a straight pass-through. There's no markup in LP&L. So if there are other companies that are marking up with LPL, that's illegal, okay? So you won't see any markup on that, just that thing. Here are some extra benefits to your billing packages. If you wanted to add something on, there's a couple little planned add-ons. That's more of a specific thing to you, situational, see if it works. What I would suggest, if you have questions about any add-ons to your plan, talk about that when you're getting enrolled, right? Our concierge will be able to answer that question, how those services will pertain to you. And then after that, there's just the amount that's due. It's completely transparent, and you can kind of see where every one of your charges are, along with tracking your usage. And now, so that was kind of the bills. So now we're going to go to the Q&A portion of it. I think Anna is going to ask me some of the frequently asked questions from the ones that you guys sent in to us when you did the RSVP. And then after that, we'll open it up to live question Q&A here. Fair enough? Okay.
I'm going to let that poor man breathe for a minute. So really what it is we found a lot of you are asking the same questions in different ways. So we came up with, a set of general questions that we think will address a lot of your concerns. I have one quick question just because I was watching the audience. When we say 6.422, whatever, that's LP&L's rate, do you all understand that's per kilowatt hour? Just like we give you a rate, like 10 cents something per kilowatt hour, and then 9 cents per kilowatt hour, whatever. So each electricity company is going to charge you this is what they're selling you electricity for. We're going to give you electricity for, this rate at this many per kilowatt hour. The same thing with LP&L. They're charging per kilowatt hour. That kilowatt hour rate plus our rate is what is your all-in rate. Make sure when you talk to companies, you ask what the all-in rate is, because there are some companies who will say, our rate is 10 cents per kilowatt hour, but they're not telling you that does not include LP&L's 6.42 kilowatt hour rate. So you're thinking you're only going to pay, if I use 1,000 kilowatt hours, I'm only going to pay 10 cents per kilowatt hour. That's not the case. So I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that. I know at the fair that we had this last weekend, I kind of had to help a couple people understand that. Okay, did you get your breath?
I'm
okay,
good.
Awesome. Okay, this is the first one, and I think it's just obvious, but I'm going to ask it. Why is Reliant the best choice for my electricity provider?
There are several reasons that I won't go into them all. But one of the main reasons is that we are the largest ones out there. Being the fact that we service more Texans than any of the other companies, that gives us a lot of buying power when we go to negotiate and buy the power in bulk. And we buy enough to supply power to all of our client base, and we do it by volume, right? So our volume which is what gives us the power there. We're the number one polar company in the state of Texas, which means provider of last resort. The state ERCOT and the PUCT decided that we were the number one because of our sustainable business practices. We always have more than enough power to provide to you guys. An example of when a smaller company may not have enough power might be some of those nightmare bills that you saw on the news when it froze a few years back or whatever, and people were like, oh my God, my bill is through the roof, right? What happened was, there could have been two things that happened. One, they could have been on a non-contracted plan, meaning that their rate can fluctuate because they haven't locked it into a contract. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Two could be that they were with a smaller organization that literally did not have the power purchased to supply it to them. So all that smaller company could do was buy power at the cost that it was during that extreme spike when it froze and pass that cost on to the client, right? All of those companies, when that happened, it kind of exposed a lot of electricity companies that were kind of bad actors in the industry. A lot of them had to transfer their books of business over to us because we are reliable and sustainable enough to take on that power. So that's probably the number one reason I would say it. And then also customer service, right? You can't be our 5-star customer service. We're here for you. We have concierge. We're based in Texas. Our headquarters is right there at Houston. Community service. We have Anna. She's awesome. We have offices here. There's plenty of reasons, but I won't go on bragging. So let's answer some more questions.
Great job. Okay, I'm convinced. I'll sign up. I already have. Okay, are penalties charged to our bill? And if so, what are they for?
Okay. So as long as you're paying everything on time, there are no penalties charged to your bill. There is a certain percentage penalty if the payment comes in late. And I'll kind of back up and show you what I'm talking about. Let me go back. Where am I looking? Okay, so right here in account 1, right? So this was the original bill, the amount due, and then it tells you the due date of the 24th. After the 24th, you have a 16-day grace period before these charges are. I've heard that there weren't that loose grace periods prior to deregulation. I don't know. But you have 16 days after this date before a certain percentage of your bill is charged. And you can see in this example that it's not that much, right? It went from 173 to 181, right? So there's a penalty if you do pay it late, but there's also a grace period in there that should help you avoid those charges.
I don't see it on here, but while we're talking about fees, if I cancel early after March 5th, am I charged a cancellation fee?
Yes. So early termination fees, they do apply, right? So you're in a contract, and the majority of that contract benefits you. You're saying that, hey, for this term period of time, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, Reliant, you have to give me my power at this rate, no matter what happens, right? If we have another freeze and it goes up, we take that cost, right? We still give it to you at your rate. However, that contract comes with an early termination fee. So if you, for whatever, decide to break that contract, you're like, you know what? I really don't like that Jamil guy. I signed up with Reliant, but I don't like him. I'm going with Octopus or something like that. Then if you switch over to Octopus while you're in contract, there is an early termination fee. For a 1-year contract, it's $150. For a multi-year contract, it's $295. The next question that comes after that is, what if I move, right? Great, you still have the option, right? So the contract is only tied to that specific address. So if you move and you're still under contract, you have the option. What I would do is look at where rates are, right? So if rates are higher than when you're moving, then I would just call Reliant up and say, hey, will you transfer my existing plan to my new address so that I can continue on these rates until my contract's over? No problem. If rates are lower, say, hey, I'm moving. Can you just cancel my services, right? And then go get it. And it may not even be a higher or lower thing. It could just be a lifestyle change, right? You could be renting an apartment. Let's say you have a 2-year plan. Year 1, you're living in a 900 square foot apartment. And then year 2, you buy a 4,000 square foot house, right? That plan may not be the plan that you want for that, right? You may want a plan that benefits you to when you use a whole bunch of kilowatt hours or something like that. Our concierge can walk you through, like, you know, what you should pick at that point. But if you move to a different house and that plan just doesn't service your lifestyle for whatever reason, you can also cancel it at this address, get a new plan at your new address. If you move to a place where we do not service, let's say you move to Oklahoma or something like that, right? No cancellation fee for that. So literally the only time you're charged an early cancellation fee is if you're in contract at the same address and you decide to go to another company for whatever reason. One of the common business practices is cancellation fee reimbursement. So you could check that out, but typically it makes more sense to stay put.
If you've signed a contract with somebody else and you want to hop over to Reliant before March 4th-ish, let's say that, you're not going to be charged cancellation fees. We can't charge you in this window, FYI. Somebody wanted, like, well, I already signed with so-and-so. Can I? I'm like, yeah, you're good. You're good. You're golden. Okay, so next question. I think I'm going to go to the one that I think most people want to know about. Does Reliant offer average billing?
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. We do offer average billing. You don't have to use it, but you can. And it works great for some people if you want to keep your billing consistent. If you're more of a fluctuated user, we would want to look at your usage before we suggest doing it. But yes, we do offer average billing.
Bill me from electricity, or is LP&L still going to send me a bill, or how's that going to work?
So all of your billing for electricity will all come from Reliant Energy. I know that LP&L is the City of Lubbock Utilities is sending a separate bill for some of the other utilities they still manage, but everything pertaining to your electricity usage will all come out on the Reliant Energy bill, and it'll be in those line items that we showed in section 6 of your bill.
Great. So you'll get 2 bills, one from the city for your water and sewage and one from your electricity provider. Hopefully that's Reliant. Okay, what about solar panels? Do you guys have a solar plan?
Okay, so yes, we do have solar plans. However, they are not currently available. The solar buyback process is not currently available in the Lubbock market yet. I believe they were trying to get through this pre-sale period, and then we're going to come back and look for it. But
call in now, and they can talk with you with the plans, but
yeah.
It's not part of this.
Yes. So, and then also the solar buyback plan is also not a part of the 10% discount with Alliance Credit Union. However, if you have solar panels on your house right now, sign up for a rate that works for your house. You can still utilize the power that your solar panels are producing for your house, but so far as buying back the access, that's not available as of yet.
Thank you. Do you have to lock in on a contract for any service?
You don't have to. And I was kind of answering this some in the hallway as well. We do offer month-to-month plans. Every energy company that's coming into your market does offer month-to-month plans. However, if you don't have a contract, that rate is not guaranteed. right? Month-to-month plan. Electricity is a commodity. The price changes, right? Depending on demand and a lot of other factors. So you may see a month-to-month plan and you're like, oh, well, I don't have to agree to a contract. This sounds great. It's low, right? But if we go into February, we get a freeze and everybody who is in Lubbock Power and Light District cranks up that heat and it causes demand to go up, more than likely it's going to bring the market rate of that energy up and you're not protected by the contract. So month-to-month plans are for extreme short-term usage. You know, if you just need power on and you're moving in a month or something, then maybe. But if you're trying to carry that out through the whole year, more than likely that rate will fluctuate. It can fluctuate down, but it could also fluctuate up. I highly suggest getting a contract, but it's not 100% required.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to ask these back to back because they feed off each other.
Sure.
Are any special incentives offered, for example, senior discount, healthcare discount, et cetera?
Okay. So we have an active military discount. So if you're active military, there is a discount for that. So far as senior citizens, it kind of brings up another question about deposits, right? So the senior citizen discount, if you're over the age of 65, there's no deposit, and there's also more leniency on disconnections. If you're over 65, there's a whole new set of rules like that. Even if you're past grace period and all that stuff, just give us a call. We'll inform you on those.
But I will say the plan that you should sign up for, it's already beating all those discounts.
Also the incentive of being an Alliance Credit Union. Right, that's the main incentive why we're all here, right?
Yeah, so I do want to add, we were asked at the fair quite a bit, hey, so-and-so is offering us a senior discount, what do you got? And I was like, let me see the senior discount. So they showed me the rate, and I'm like, well, you can have the senior discount, but you're going to pay more with that senior discount than if you just did our plan. So just because they say it's a senior discount, they may discount something, but bottom line, it may not be the cheaper deal. So just watch out for stuff like that. And I'm so glad somebody was wise and asked that. Okay, so then going off of that, this is similar. Can incentives be stacked? For example, I got the $600 credit incentive in the mail. Can I stack that with a 10% Alliance discount?
Good question. Unfortunately, these incentives do not stack, right? A lot of people did receive a mail out from Reliant that says $600 bill credit, right? For the majority of people, if you live in your home every day, you're using electricity every day, that plan comes with a much higher rate, right? It's almost 21 cents. It's 20.9 cents, over 4 cents higher than what you can get through Alliance Credit Union, and it does not have a 10% discount, and you can't stack the 10% discount on there. The way that plan works is that you would get $300 one year and $300 the other year. If you're paying a 4 cents gap difference and you're using enough electricity, that won't end with the overall annual savings, right? It's a credit up front, but overall through the year, you will probably end up paying more if you use, the average amounts of electricity. I highly suggest going with your pre-negotiated discounts with the Alliance Credit Union.
And can you talk a little bit to that 16.9? You mentioned it in the last meeting, how that was,
preferred.
Right.
Yes. So actually, the 16.9 rate that you guys are getting, first of all, that rate doesn't include your 10% discount. So there's a 10% discount added to the retail charge. Taken away from the retail charge of your electricity by 10%. We were kind of talking about month to month, and I said that it's a commodity, it goes up, right? Contracts go up sometimes too. Contract prices actually increased today, but for Alliance Credit Unions, that 16.9 that was available at the beginning of this partnership is still available exclusively to you all. 16.9 across the board plus 10%. Is not something that anybody else is getting outside of Alliance Credit Union. So it's very, very, very exclusive to you all.
I'm going to put my plug in there. Okay, so if you hold your phone up, your camera, and you'll scan the QR code, you click on the website, you'll see several plans. The one that you're going to get the most value of, I'll just make it easy for you. I'll do your homework. 16.9 across the board. When I say across the board, there's going to be something called Energy Facts Label, or for short, EFL, and it will break down 3 columns for you. You'll see 500 kilowatt column, you'll see a 1,000 kilowatt column, and you'll see a 2,000 kilowatt say that 5 times, column. Underneath that, you're going to see a rate at each one. The plan that you all should really consider will have 16.9 at each one of those columns. What that means for you is regardless of what you use, say a month, like February, March, maybe you're not using as much electricity, so you're under 1,000 kilowatts. A lot of plans will charge you more for using less, and then you only get to see that advertised price. Like maybe you saw 16.4 at some of the fairs and you were like, oh yeah, 16.4, that's a good rate. But it was only if you went to 2,000 kilowatt hours. If you looked at the 1,000 kilowatt column, it went higher. And if you went to the 500 kilowatt column, it went higher. We have plans like that. It just depends on your usage. That's why we say pay attention to what you use. But for all of you to make it simple, fair, across the board, what Lubbock likes, simple and to the point, 16.9 across the board, take 10% off of that. I think Brandon did the math for me out there, and he said it's closer to 15.9 by the time it's all said and done. That's not available anywhere with anybody. If you see it, and they have great customer service, and they're one of the biggest providers in Texas, then we can talk. But you're just getting a heck of a value with that. Yep. Oh, I got to ask you a question. Ooh, I like this one. Does Alliance Credit Union have the right to deduct from my Alliance account if I am late on my Reliant bill?
No, not at all. Again, there's no strings attached. And like Anna said, hopefully you guys have seen, I'm sure if you're here, you're here because you're interested in being educated. You've probably done a level of homework up to this point. And I hope that what you're seeing is the fruit of the effort that your management team at the credit union has done to, again, leverage that 47,000 members into a heck of a deal, for you guys. So hopefully you're seeing that.
Okay. Last question. So, this one I think is a little more, a smaller group may be interested in this question. Where does Reliant get its let me phrase that. Where did it go? Basically, where do we get our power? Do we generate it?
We do. So in deregulated markets, you can be in two of the three categories of power, right? So the categories are generation, which is actually having a power plant do whatever, burn coal, natural gas, wind, all that stuff. There's transmission, which is the lines that actually transmits it to your house. And then there's the retail side of it, the servicing side of it, right? In a deregulated market, you can be in two of those three markets. Reliant does produce. We do produce, so we're in the retail side, which is what you guys are going to enroll in, and then we're also producing power as well. Most of those generation plants are around the Gulf area. In Houston, I think we have some operations in southern Louisiana and their Gulf areas as well, but we do produce power, and we also buy additional power that we haven't produced.
We have one in Denver City.
In where?
In Denver City.
We have one in Denver City. There we go. We got plants all over the place. So yes, we do. We also purchase it and we retail it.
Yep, cool. All right. Now we're going to open it for general questions that we may not have gotten to, but how do we do? Can I get a round of applause if we answered a lot of the ones that you had? All right. Good job, Jamil. All right, good. Okay, right here in the front. What is your question?
I got a couple of questions. How is the 10% applied?
How is the 10% applied for those of you online?
How is the 10% applied? So we talked about now, so your total rate is a combination of between what LP&L charges and what your retail electric provider charges, Reliant Energy applies, right? The LP&L charge of 6.42 cents per kilowatt hour, that's standard for every company across the board, and that doesn't get discounted. But your retail cost of electricity, that's where the 10% is taking off of, right? No, not off the total charge. We can't discount LP&L, right? They won't come fix power lines for 10% less, right?
So what will our rate be?
Well, that's why I said when it's all said and done toward the end, the math, it's closer to 15.9.
Yeah,
but it's taken up on your bill.
Okay, so you subtract the 6.42 from the 15.
So take the, what's our rate, 10 cents per whatever times
Yeah.
0.10%, that's what you're getting off.
You're getting a little bit over a cent off of your retail charge. So whatever the difference is between the 16 point, so like almost like 10 cents or something like that is a retail charge, and you're getting like another cent off of that for
I'm
quick
thinking
math.
15.9, the LPL gets 6.42 of that, is that how?
Yes, that's exactly how it works. It doesn't add to it, right? The 15.9 is your all-in cost covering your Reliant costs and for your LP&L costs.
When, let me add this.
Maybe you go back to the bill.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I'll go
Okay,
back to
so while he does that, remember I talked about an EFL, the energy facts label? You're gonna see a breakdown. It's gonna say 10 cents point something is what Reliant is charging you. 6.42 cents per kilowatt hour is what LP&L is charging you. We're gonna take 10% off of the 10 cents we're charging you, so it's almost a whole penny. So you wind up